Okay, so I think this has to do with, so the math institutes take turns being the lead organizations, and for some of them, there are two of us. So for this conference, NIMBioS is obviously the main organization, and SAMSI has been the secondary institute. And NIMBioS, as Suzanne already pointed out, has this sort of different status within the math field. So SAMSI is located in Research Triangle Park. This is what the physical building looks like. It's in the building is the National Institutes of Statistical Sciences building. And actually, one of the things that I want to point out, this is just my usual set of slides. So upper right-hand corner picture, not to harp on the, the whole family sort of stuff that has been a theme today. So this was, so I became deputy director almost 2 years ago. And I was, we'd had, actually I'm not sure how, I think the only other woman we'd had on the directorate was an associate director, Ilse Ibsen. I don't think there had been any other women before, and then there was me. So Ilse and I are on the directorate together right now. And one of the first things that happened within 3-4 months was we had a small workshop on astrostatistics at SAMSI. And this is a room that holds about 50 people. And this, okay, so I can't work out how to do the top right? Right, okay, maybe that, okay, there we go. Okay, so that's Ann Lee from Carnegie Mellon. And she was one of the invited speakers, and she had 2 children. Her husband was with the older one, and the younger one she was still breastfeeding. Now this is, there she was. And she was she sort of stood in the back of the room, and she'd shush her child constantly. And I was going in and out, and I said, wait a minute, there are people typing in here on their computers. That's louder than your child. Stay in there. And basically, she was freaked out, not like going crazy freaked out, but she was like, what am I going to do when I have to give my talk? So it's like, go up there with your kid. Child starts screaming, hand your kid to one of us. The organizers, who in another era I don't think would ever have volunteered, one of them is an Indian professor who now has grandkids, and he said, not a problem, I have grandkids. Hand me your baby if he starts, go give your talk. She did the entire talk with her child in I've forgotten, mine is 9 years old, so I've forgotten what this thing is called now. And this was, this seems like a minor thing. This was a big thing, because never before in the SAMSI building had anyone thought, what do you do if someone shows up with a baby and has to come, because this is, she's breastfeeding. So now we actually have a room set up where if we can accommodate stuff like this, sort of a lactation room. We can accommodate children coming in. My daughter sometimes comes in. It's a change. It doesn't affect anything that happens work-wise. We make sure that people are doing their work and so on. The other change also is, and this again is part of the same thing, is a lot of these institutes are set up on the model that you go to visit. And this is set up from a different time period. How do you go to visit if you have obligations that you can't take with you and go to visit? So the thing to keep in mind is if something is keeping you from actually going to visit, contact someone at the institute and say, look, I can't come to this workshop. Is it possible for me to get, do you do like live streaming? Do you do this and that and so on? Because a lot of these institutes are starting to do this, mostly because things are changing. Uh-huh.
So as associate director of the American
Right.
Institute of Mathematics, and we had special funds, not NSF funds.
Right.
Special funds only if somebody requested it, not allow himself to go to buy. But to bring in the nanny to do something that was needed that couldn't be funded by NSF.
Right.
There are these funds available.
Right. So one of the first things I did after I got to SAMSI was actually talk to the DMS director at the time, and he said, we have tried, we cannot use NSF funds for anything like childcare. And that was exactly the example. So we've tried to find, and again, it's this thing, I can't say this, but if someone, so one of the things we did was put up a list of childcare places that were within a certain radius of SAMSI, so that each person that has to do this, and there are a lot of men that have to do this as well, does not have to sit there and Google and figure out the distances and, think like, is this a trustworthy place and so on. So we just went through our list of, visitors, postdocs that had used these. Other institutes are also doing this. But this is not going to happen until we start saying this is what we need, because this is the time period where things are changing. So one of the biggest things I personally have learned is if I don't talk about this, it disappears, right? So, okay. You already saw the website for the Math Institutes. So if you go to this, all the DMS Math Institutes websites links are on there. And these range in terms of applications from all the way from pure math to applied math to statistics, which is SAMSI. So SAMSI is one of the younger DMS math institutes. It was started in 2002. It's the only one with statistics, so it's statistics and applied math. And it's a different setting because we have 4 partners. We have 3 universities and then the National Institutes for Statistical Science. So what this means on the SAMSI end is figuring out the bureaucracies is a nightmare. Because all 3 universities have their own rules about what they will do, how, when, Okay. And we have relationships with, we have this affiliates program with NIST, et cetera, et cetera. The day-to-day operations are run by the directorate and operations staff. No, it's a grant. All the institutes, well, except for AIM in some sense, all the institutes are grants. They're funded in 5-year cycles. NIMBioS is different. It's a synthesis, whatever thing. So anyway, there are different situations for different institutes. Our main activities, we do research programs that are a year long. So we're a little bit different. We have 1 to 2 research programs, usually 2. And the visitors that we have are, show up for either a few days all the way to the whole 9-month, the 2-semester time period. And then over the summer, we usually try to do 1, maybe 2 summer programs. The research programs usually are aimed at people that have PhDs and above, so sort of that part of the applied math and stats population. We have a very small number of postdocs compared to the other institutes. We have 6 first-year postdocs, and in order to apply for a SAMSI postdoc, it's a bit of the year that you're on the job market. If you have worked in an area that SAMSI is doing a program in, then we have a good fit. Otherwise, you could be an excellent candidate, but the postdocs are hired within the research program. So it's a little bit different than other places where the postdocs come in with their own research. And we have graduate fellows, but these are from the local universities. So this is the buy-in that the 3 universities have. The undergrad, we have undergrad and graduate or programs for undergrads and graduate students. All of this is on the website, and it's getting late, so I'll sort of just go quickly over this. And then from time to time, we do various things for faculty. So this June, we're doing a retention and recruitment workshop. So for recruiting and retaining students that are from underrepresented groups. So we're working with the Alliance for Doctoral Studies in the in the Mathematical Sciences, I think is what it's called, in order to do this. So for this year, so this is sort of what our programs look like. So for this year, one program is the Computational Methods in Social Sciences. This will end in May. And the other one is a low-dimensional structure and high-dimensional systems, which is a huge program. It will also end in May. We've had, in the past, we've had the SAVI workshop. So we had a workshop in India that was a bioinformatics workshop. So this is sort of just a wide range of things. For the coming year, we have a bioinformatics program. So if you know undergrads, chances are you're not an undergrad, sometime in October is when the day-and-a-half long undergrad workshop associated with bioinformatics will take place. And then the other program is mathematical and statistical ecology, and the undergrad program for that will take place in the spring, probably in February. And then within the programs, we'll have smaller workshops that will also show up. So the way our programs start is we have a long opening workshop that's about a week long, And at the end of the opening workshop, we form research groups that we call working groups, and then the working groups actually meet via WebEx. So you can be anywhere in the world and log into WebEx and participate. And so at least the opening workshop is the only time that it really helps to physically come, because it's about usually 180 to 200 people that show up for the opening workshop. Just to keep this in mind for the future, these are not official, so I can't officially tell you this, but what we will most likely have in 2015-16 is a very large neurosciences program. We had a summer program that was on neuroimaging data analysis last summer, and that was massively oversubscribed. And then a smaller forensics program. This is something that is sort of starting. There are various math and stats people that are interested in this. So this is sort of a little incubator for an upcoming research area. So just a couple of things on how you can get involved, especially if you're early career, mid-career, so on. A lot of these institutes do work on input. We are always looking for suggestions on what to have programs on. And this has been NSF's view, is that this is how the institutes should work. This is for the math sciences community, so the math sciences community should participate. A lot of times people, for the most part, people are very bashful about saying, oh, I would like to see a program in such and such area, because, we don't, that's not how we think usually. We think it should happen, and they'll, magically it'll all work out. But if you can propose topics, if you can propose a topic that is in your, that is important to you, that is in an area that you work in, and then you can write up a little proposal. And I just know how things work at SAMSI, but the other institutes aren't all that different. This makes, this possibly makes you an organizer. I mean, this is the sort of thing that you have to start doing anyway, but it's a good thing to sort of think about. And all of our other information, all of it is on the website. So, okay, thank you, and we'll move on to Sushmita.